And this is a perfect example of why Earth is hell, according to you people. Now, I'm very, very excited. This is, it's funny because every other lesson that I do goes well. And then as soon as I do a lesson for these hell people on Reddit, everything goes wrong. Because this is what you guys wanted. And I am lowering my vibration to come into your hellish realm to to tell you everything is okay and to get some of you before it's too late. Oh my goodness. Let's zoom in. So I have no expectations about today's lesson because I know that the subject matter is, about hell. When I was setting up this live, we were supposed to be on at 1 o'clock, so about half an hour ago. And every time I was setting up the stream, something would go wrong. And then eventually I had everything set up and I was just about to go live and one thing was wrong. The screen orientation was wrong. And so I had to start everything over because I was already live and you can't change the screen. So when the people at Are We in Hell on Reddit are complaining about Earth, I 100% understand the frustration and the pain that they're dealing with, even though for me, it was just this last 30 minutes. And I was prepared for it because my job is to teach instant manifestation. And so knowing that I had to talk to people who believe that the world is hell, I knew that I was going to have some hellish experiences while coming up with today's lesson. But I'm being quite glib because what I experienced is nothing compared to some of the things that everyone is talking about. And I would be a fool and a liar if I didn't tell you that I used to experience those things that the people in this subreddit are talking about. But I don't experience those things anymore, so I can joke about it and laugh about it because after what I tell you, you also will be laughing and joking about it. Okay, so are we in hell? The short answer is yes, we are. And the reason I say yes, we are, is backed up by our Bible. So to everyone on this subreddit, you are 100% correct. We are in hell. But what is hell? Hell is not some hot place that is, like here. Hell is Gehenna. Gehenna is a rubbish dump. It's a place that you throw stuff away. So hell doesn't necessarily mean what Dante's Inferno would have you believe it means. Hell is a place where God is not. But since God is everywhere, the very idea or fact that your energy or your consciousness isn't floating around in a void, the very fact that you can be in hell is showing you how much God loves you because there's a place for you to go. Now, is earth hell? Well, let's see. So let's go to 1 John verse 5:19. So if you have your Bible, I use the NKJV. Don't tell me anything about King James, please. I know everything about him. And God can use anyone to deliver the message, even King James, okay? Even me, even you. None of us are perfect. That's why we need help. There. So let's go to verse 5, chapter 9, to see, are we in hell? What did they say 2,000 years ago? They said, are we all reading together? We know that we are of God, and the whole world lies under the sway of the wicked one. There you go. So yes, are we in hell is right. Correct. I would give you 10 out of 10 if I was still an English teacher. Okay, so according to John, we know that we are of God. So we aren't hellish people, not us. But the whole world lies under the sway of the wicked one. Who's the wicked one? Is the wicked one the one keeping us here? But I thought we all had free will. So I want you to just create a little pocket in your mind of the wicked one. Okay, and I want you to just think about, is he the one controlling this planet? Is he the one controlling you in the planet? And, think about it. We'll get to the other one over here. So let's continue. Okay, let's look at Romans 8, verse 20, because are we in hell? You can't just give me 1 mark to win, to get the answer right. I need at least 4 marks to support your answer so you can pass the grade. So Romans, where's Romans? New Testament. Romans, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, but that is not an excuse to do whatever you want. Okay, 8 verse 20. Here we are right at the bottom, okay? Romans 8 verse 20 to 22. Are we in hell? That's the question. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it in hope. Because the creation itself also will be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. Okay, that was a bit of a complicated one, and we won't go into the context. I just want you to look at this part, corruption. So we are being delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty. We don't worry about that part. We just want to know, are we in hell? So in school, we must only take the part that supports our answer. So yes, the people in the subreddit are correct. They are in bondage of corruption. So let's put another mark. So now we know that the wicked one who controls this world controls it using a bondage. Another word for bondage is contract. You know, like when you get a mortgage, that's a bondage, a contract of corruption. But obviously, a mortgage is not corruption, it's your house. Or your mobile phone, maybe you have a contract. So every month you pay some money, and then after 2 years, you get a new phone. That's a bondage of cellular telephones. So we're going to get to what is this bondage of corruption, because that's the word, corruption. Not all contracts are bad. Some contracts are very, very, very good. Like this one. This is a good one. And the contract I got to make a movie from the government, that's a good contract. Okay, so let's continue. Now we know that we are in hell, okay? Now to prove this, we know there's a ruler called the Wicked One. And how does that Wicked One rule? Through a bondage of corruption. Okay, so we still need to support our answer. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 1:14. So let's go to the old, no, let's go to Ecclesiastes. Let's go there. Let's do it. Let's follow. Okay, Ecclesiastes 4, page 448. But we want chapter 1, verse 14. Okay, chapter 1, verse 14. Here we go. Are we in hell? That's what we want to know. I have seen, can we all see here? I don't know if this thing is HD when I go live, but normally it's HD when or 4. No, it's H2K, I think is the limit. So, okay, so it was reconnecting there for a second. I'm just going to read that again. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and indeed all is vanity and grasping for the wind. This is Ecclesiastes 1:14. So we have proof now that the problem with wisdom, because King Solomon knew everything, he was the wisest man on earth, but even he was like, you know what, just drink and be merry, because everything is a waste of time. Vanity of vanities, everything is just a waste. So drink and have fun. So the wisest man on earth said that, let's just put, the world is futile. Futility. I type so much, and I'm used to writing on a whiteboard, that it's like interesting writing like this online. Okay, so we have got our third point. So are we in hell? Well, according to John, this place is ruled by a wicked one. According to Romans, they rule us with the bondage or contracts of corruption. And then according to Ecclesiastes, the world is futile. You do stuff, but what for? I'm telling you all of this, but some of you are going to listen, some are not. Just by me telling you, it's not going to do anything immediately for me, objectively. Subjectively, it does a lot for me, but that's not the point of why we're here. So, to get the full mark for this section, we need one more thing. And we need to go back to the beginning, to Genesis, because we are in the generation of Isis. Genesis, generation of Isis or Ishtar, because we are born on earth. and the earth is a reptile or Ishtarian planet. So, Genesis 6, verse 5. Let's open it. Where are we? Okay, there's 6, because we have to prove everything. Are we in hell? Let's see. Can we all read? Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart, small his, small h, so man's heart at that time, was only evil continually. This is the biggest key you ever need in order to get out of hell. Because once you know what the hell master wants from you, then don't do it and you won't be in hell anymore. You'll be in heaven. And he's telling you what he doesn't like. And that is intent of the thoughts of your heart being evil continually. Continually. Okay? Now let's ruminate on that while I open Psalm 4, verse 4, to show you a contract. Because you people are living in a contract of corruption. But now let me show you the bridge, the contract of freedom, salvation, sovereignty. So I'll call it the contract of sovereignty. Okay. And then you won't be in hell anymore. Then you can come to Lumania with the rest of the sons of the sons of light. Okay, so let me show you the contract of sovereignty. But first, let's talk about this, what God doesn't want. So he says, Genesis 6, verse 5, please read it yourself, print it, tell your kids, tell your family, tell everyone. So wickedness is when you have evil intent in your thoughts, in your heart, in the thoughts of your heart. All the time, continuously. Oops. Continuously, all the time. That is sin. That's all that we do not like. We didn't tell you to don't eat this, don't go there at night, don't do this, don't do that, don't fall in love with this guy, don't marry this man because you're a man and a woman and two. No, we never said that. All we said was, and who I'm talking for is the people who sent me, okay? God, the Father, Hashem, the Most High, sent me to tell you this is sin. Having evil intent in your thoughts all the time. That's it. So how does that manifest? It manifests into turning earth into hell. Now we've proven it, yes. And then God comes and destroys the planet. Not destroys it, reboots it. And we are getting ready for another reboot. And that's why we're here telling you this. Not a reset, a reboot. Please don't get it twisted. I don't work for the resetting company. I work for the rebooting company. Because when you reboot something, you turn it off and turn it back on again. And then you can install the new program. When you reset it, You're just making it go back to what it was, which is nothing. Hell, wasting my time. So we are not resetting anything. We are rebooting. Okay, so what are we rebooting? That's what this... You would have been able to read it in the description notes, but like I said, half an hour before I started, the evil intent or the energy created by the evil thoughts of people has an effect on the material world. Okay, but let's not get too deep into magic yet. Let's stay grounded in reality. So, this is bad. Sin. Where's my red? This is sin. Having evil intent continuously. So let's go to Psalm 4 verse 4 to find out if it's bad to have evil thoughts at all. Because then we will all be dead if that's the case. So can we think of negative things at all? Like what if someone, you know, makes you feel upset? Can't you imagine? Well, let's see what our director says. So he says in Psalm 4, which is King David's story, Psalm 4 verse 4, are we all seeing it? This is not made up. This is what's written 2,000 years ago. So can we be angry as people who work for the Lord? Of course. Jesus was out there flipping tables. So you can be angry, but here's the caveat. You cannot, good, very good. You can be angry, but do not sin. And yes, true, I see you guys. And everyone commenting, good job for following along. So let's go, let's read Psalm 4 verse 4, my favorite of favorites. Be angry and do not sin. So what do you do instead? Meditate within your heart on your bed and be still. Selah. So what do you want from me? They told you. So yes, if you do it all the time and you act on it, that is sin. And then you will invite hell into your world because this is an energetic place we live in. And I'll get into that in a bit. But it always starts from your intent. Well, there you go. Do you see what your intent, what it does? Do you understand now when I say this is not a game? Even the props department at Scribblebytes couldn't have timed that. What the hell? Okay, so this is called magic, okay? This is called instant manifestation. Welcome to my world. Now imagine if we were talking about what we normally talk about in Lumania, like love and money and all of it, then we would be making, money would be flying out of here. But first I was told I have to talk to the people in hell. Okay, so I don't know, I'm gonna use another pen now because this is, I'm not fixing that on live TV. Okay, so evil intent, as you've just seen, creates things that you guys call magic, or some of you call it bad luck, or you call it incompetent people around you, whatever, but bad government or whatever. No, it's you. It's all coming from you. Because this book here is not about the world. It's about you. That's why I always say it's a personal relationship with this book. And then when they tell you to talk, you talk. But before then, you don't say a word about what you read in this book until they tell you. And so the relationship that they're talking about in Genesis, when God says he's going to destroy the world, yes, your world, or whoever is the one with the evil thoughts and intent. Meanwhile, the people who don't have evil thoughts and intent, they live in a whole different reality. That's why people who shorted the stock in 2008 when the housing market collapsed, they became billionaires and millionaires after years of poverty, all because they followed their personal relationship, and when the world was telling them to zig, they zagged. When everyone was buying CDCs, they wanted to short all the stock, and they got billions out of it by not hurting a single fly. So everyone can succeed in this planet without hurting anyone, without sending anyone to war, without breaking the 10 Commandments, without stealing someone's boyfriend or girlfriend. It's so possible. You've seen it. You've seen the results of this, of evil, is this. That's what you get for staying in hell, and you do it in your mind. And like I said, I was ready for this because I am going to talk about it. I was sitting in bed saying, oh my gosh, I have to talk about this. This is going to be fun, because what is going to happen? Because I don't go to this vibration. This vibration is close. Okay, so your thoughts make things. So now, we're not done. Because now that we've proven that yes, we are in hell, and that hell is a form of corruption, I need to now take you through your part in it. So how is this affecting you? And that's because of the spiritual warfare. Now, as you guys, I'll get back to this paper, but as you guys know, whenever we talk about spiritual warfare, the new word for spiritual warfare is called fifth generation warfare. That is the same as spiritual warfare because it's a war on ideas. And ideas collect into a group like cells. In psychology, we study this. And your ideas eventually influence you like a spirit. So the war we are dealing with is a spiritual warfare using deep, dark psychology tricks, which I shouldn't say dark because that makes it sound nefarious, but I should say hidden, because these techniques are techniques that I use because I have a degree in it. But I stepped away from commercial mainstream media because I did not want to work for someone who used these tricks for a bondage of corruption. So I said, I'll go and start my own production studio called Scribble Bites, where I can use these tricks to open everyone's individual self-actualization so that you can be the king of your own domain and get out of hell. Because Jesus tells us in Matthew 6:33, what must you do? Is it 2 T's in Matthew or 1? I always forget. It's 2. So what do you do here? Seek first the kingdom within. That's what he told you. He didn't tell you to go to people on the side of the street and tell them about Jesus. He didn't tell you to go and convert people and tell them what to do, what to eat, where to sleep, where to go at. No, that's lies. He said, seek first the kingdom within. And also you must use with righteousness and everything. So don't just go for fun. Okay, but if you are signing a contract of sovereignty now, sovereignty to what? To your new kingdom. Let's use purple for your crown chakra in the kingdom. Okay, let me put it on top because it's a kingdom. Okay, so that's what this point is of Scribble Bites. It's a journey to get you out of hell as an individual. You can't come with other people. You can only come by yourself and your mind, your ideas. And burn this contract of corruption, of bondage, and come over to be a king in your own kingdom. Because that's what we have been called to do by Jeezy. Seek first the kingdom within, and then the rest of all the other stuff will be given to you. And that's why the media is such an important church, because the media accepts everyone. You don't have to be a certain religion to watch my show. If you're a Muslim, you can watch me. If you're Christian, if you're a witch, if you're a witch doctor, if you're a shaman, anyone can watch media. So that's why it's the perfect ground to do 5G, because you will all get the message. And so the people who are controlling the message right now, that's who we're going to look at next. So are we in hell? Yes, we are. So now who's the wicked one and how are they doing this bondage of corruption? So let's turn to John 8, verse 34 to figure it out. How do they do it? How do they actually trap your mind so that when it happens, you can see it and then you will stop and say to yourself, this is the enemy. This is not me. This is a trick. So John 8, here's John 8:34. Okay, let us read. John verse 8. Chapter 8, verse 34. Okay. Jesus answered them. So my Bible, the words of Jesus are in red. So this is what Jesus said. Most assuredly. Sometimes when I read the Bible, I want to sound like those people, like the Quakers or something, or John Wesley. And I'm like, assuredly, I say to thee. But I specifically got the New King James Version because I find the English in there is easier for me to speak. It's close to speaking English, conversational English. So I'm not going to say assuredly. I'm just going to read it like a normal person. Okay, so Jesus answered them, most assuredly, I say to you, whoever commits sin is a slave of sin. And that's it. Okay. There we go. And a slave does not abide in the house forever, but a son abides forever. Okay, so most assuredly I say to you, whoever commits sin is a slave of sin. And 35, and a slave does not abide in the house forever, but a son abides forever. So we're going back to here. So how do they capture you and why? Okay, now I must have a pen. Come on. You see what they do, these devils. Okay. I will use a crayon. It's fine, guys. It's fine. So these people are Luciferians, right? We talked about this. If you are taking the Star Marine course, you know. I won't go too much into this, but let's call these people the wicked ones. So the wicked ones use sin to keep you trapped as a slave, because they know that this saying is correct and that a slave will never be able to live in a house, this one, a kingdom, forever, because you cannot be a slave and a king at the same time. And us, we follow Jesus, and he is called the King of Kings, not the King of Slaves. Okay? So we are the kings, and he is the King of Kings, us, because we don't take people here at Scribble Bites who need to be led. No one is being led anymore. You need to figure out your own life by yourself, alone in your bed, as you've been instructed. Do not ask me, do not ask anyone, only God. Okay, let's get that clear. Now, other people who want you to be in hell, they won't say that. They'll say to you, come, subscribe. I have all the answers. I will give you the tools. You need my tools to get out of hell. No, you don't need my tools. You have the tools inside you. I am here and appearing in your reality because you requested it in your bed, in your king's chamber, in your pineal gland, in your mind, in your vault, whatever you want to call it. You requested me to come here, and here I am. Why? Because I enjoy this part of my job. I enjoy creating because I'm by myself and I'm with God and I'm getting song lyrics and I'm writing and singing and getting keys and chords out of nowhere. And then this part is fun because I actually get to talk to real people. And these people I'm talking to are the same people who were talking to me when I was writing my music. So whenever I'm alone, I'm never really alone. I am with you because I can feel you people in spirit. And then when I come out with the stuff, the songs and whatever, then I can talk to you about the things that I know you have been thinking about because God told me what you all are thinking about. It is not magic. It is you creating a reality experience in real life. And that's called instant manifestation from the 5D. So now we know that they keep you locked in hell through sin. But now some people are going to say to me, well, what is sin? Does that mean I can't swear? Does that mean I can't watch R-rated movies? Of course you can watch R-rated movies. Of course you can swear. Of course you can do any of the things you want to do because you are on earth and you have things called hormones which just get released according to the moon, right? If you're a woman, you have menstrual cycles and that stuff is painful. If you want to swear, swear. But don't do it continue. Don't use that pain as an excuse to now forever be crazy. Like, come on, guys. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's go to page 777 in the Bible, because that's a very special number. So we are still exploring. I'm gonna use orange because this is the color of the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra is connected to your sexual organs as well. So sin can be linked to that because that's where your desire or libido or your id is, if you know your Freudian psychology. So let's go to page 777, because now Jesus has told us that they keep you in hell through sin. But how? How does it work? So we want 2 Corinthians, this is page 777, 2 Corinthians 4 verse 4. So let's go to 778. Okay, here we go. We're in the 777 gateway now. So some magical stuff is about to happen. Okay, whose minds the God of this age has blinded, small g, who do not believe, just the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine on them. Okay, now I read in the middle of a sentence, which is often what happens in the Bible because there are so many long sentences. So let's start from the beginning of that. So it says, therefore, since we have this ministry, as we have received mercy, we do not lose heart. But we have renounced the hidden things of shame, not walking in craftiness, nor handling the word of God deceitfully, but by manifestation of the truth, commending ourselves to every man's conscience in the sight of God. Let's stop there and then we'll do the second part. So Paul is the writer of Corinthians, as many of you know, and so he had already seen the glory of, real life manifestation. He had seen like the transfiguration, I believe, on the mountain. So he knew all this stuff was real, but now he had to go and tell people because obviously, what is he going to do? Like get married and have kids and live in the suburbs after seeing all of that? So he was like, well, let me go tell these people. And so he's talking about where you are probably now, where if you're in this group, you are angry, and this is righteous anger. You're allowed to be angry. But the anger is because you have renounced the hidden things of shame, and you are no longer walking in craftiness. I'm seeing your comments periodically because they flash and disappear, but I'm glad you guys are getting this. So we are angry because we know in our hearts, okay, we are following Mosaic law. We are following that bilateral agreement, right? If you want to call it that, of the 10 commandments. But now the world is still not budging. It's like, okay, I'm doing everything right. I'm sure a lot of people call me and say, look, I'm doing what I feel my body is telling me to do, but I need a job. I need money. Where is the money? I know the money is in the spiral. It's in my vault, in the fifth dimension. But how do I get it out the fifth dimension and manifest it on earth? The same way Jesus turned water to wine. That's how. And we are unpacking that as we go through this. So this is the stage in your journey, if you're in this group, or if you think that we're in hell, where you are saying, okay, I've done this stuff, but where's my reward? Okay, so you've renounced the hidden things of shame. You've done the shadow work. Okay, tick. You are not walking in craftiness. So you are not trying to use dark psychology tricks to trick other people. And you guys have seen this in relationships where you learn someone's behavior, where you are able to manipulate them. Even if it's something stupid, like you want them to go fix something and you act all demure and damsel in distress like. We know these things, craftiness, okay? That's a very, very mild example. There are more examples you can think of which are worse. Nor handling the word of God deceitfully. So you've all seen people who take the word of God, meanwhile they work for the Freemasons, and then they change it. The people who did that are in big trouble because you're basically changing this book, which is a contract. So you've seen people who do that. We don't do that because we prove everything we say. I'm not just sitting here telling you what Jesus said. I'm showing you what he said. And furthermore, so we've renounced everything by the manifestation of the truth, because we've seen the truth manifest. You guys saw the truth manifesting half an hour ago, whenever it was, when that pen exploded in my hand while I'm writing. Imagine if your life was like that the whole day. Welcome to my world. I sometimes wish cameras could follow me around every time I leave the house, because something happens. And also, remind me to tell you the time I was walking to the toilet and I ended up on an HBO Golden Globe nominated film set with Sienna Miller. And I was going to the toilet and someone took my picture. Okay, so we've seen the manifestation of the truth. Okay? So we know that what is real, and people have seen it happen. We've commended ourselves to the conscience of men of God who know what we're saying, right? Witnesses. Okay, so I believe that's clear. So now let's go to the main part that I was reading. Verse 4. That's the one we want. But even if our gospel is veiled, so even after all of the things we've done, and many people don't know, but even if our gospel is veiled or hidden, it is veiled to those who are perishing. And that's why I say, don't convert anyone. The people who don't understand, leave them alone. I just had to come here because when I was down in the dumps one day, I came to this group like 5 years ago, and someone very, very kind helped me out in a very good way. And so I said, well, I didn't say, they said, hey, you just came back from working for a billionaire and you know the stuff, so tell people. And so I said, fine, I'm going to tell these people, because there are good people in there who just don't know. Through a lack of knowledge, they stuck in hell for no reason. But normally I wouldn't tell a soul. And that's why everything is on private, and that's why I don't like many, many numbers. The group on Reddit was, I thought 10 people were going to join. And then I wake up and there's 50 people, and then I had to make it private because I'm not chasing this bondage of corruption. I like my life being simple. Okay, so even if the gospel is veiled, it's okay, because the people it's veiled to are perishing. They won't be here anyway to understand anything. And I know that sounds harsh, but I'm not saying it. It's written here 2,000 years ago. I'm just reading it. Okay, so so let's start that again. But even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing, whose minds the God of this age has blinded, who do not believe, just the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine on them. Okay, not just, lest. Exactly. Very important, guys. Because I'm like, just, they're making fun of the word. No, that's not right. It's unless. Lest the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine on them. Okay, so this part is saying the news we have in our manifestations are sealed because the people we are talking to are captive. Yes, don't hide your light. I'm reading, guys. Then the comments fade away. We have renounced those hidden things, and we live in a world where we have to be in front of other people who are still in a bondage of corruption. So that's obviously going to make them angry towards us because we don't go by the same rules that they go for. And they will always be against us, and that's fine because they are perishing. Because they believe in the God of this age, not the God of the ages, of the eons, the Most High. They believe in the God of this age, the one who has money and billions and rocket ships or whatever that they consider magic or high technology. And that God of this age has blinded their minds, and their minds will only be unblinded unless the light of the glory of Christ, who is in the image of God, shines on them. So the only way out of here is to not be a captive. So here you are captive, and Jesus is the only way out. Who is the captor? The wicked one, who is also the God of this age. And this age is the age we are in, the age of communication, age of Pisces, I believe. I don't know that stuff. So we are in this age, right? Which is like 2,600 years or something. I don't know. All you people who read the Mayan things will know about that. But this concerns us here on Earth for the foreseeable future. So now we know that there is a God of this age, and he's the wicked one, and he has captured certain people, and other people are not captured. So now let's go to Galatians, where we will learn about how has he captured them. And I'm not going to stay a lot on Galatians and Revelations. I'm going to go straight into alien DNA, because that's the best part. Because I feel like you guys get the idea, but I'm just putting it down for legal reasons, all these verses, that you are not from here. That there is a separation in the species. There are some who are captive and some who are not captive, and it's got nothing to do with skin color or orientation or who you want to marry or spend time with in your secret room, in your bedroom by yourself. I would never imagine telling someone who they can bring to their house, to their bedroom even. Imagine making money, making laws, telling people who they can kiss on the lips. That is bizarre. That is wild. That is utter corruption. Imagine going to school and you're going to make a law who's going to go to the bathroom and who's not going to go to. Imagine how like low vibrational that is. That you spend your life talking about toilets. I'm so glad I'm an alien. Okay, so let's go to Galatians. And then we can escape and go to Lumania because this hell is bumming me out. Okay, so let's go to Galatians 4:3 and we'll breeze through that. So Galatians 4:3 talks about sons and heirs. Now you know we're coming to the heir part. I want to get to that part because we are the heirs. But let's look at what the heirs of the wicked ones get. So we know what we get. Well, I'm going to talk about what we get. But what do they get, the people in hell? Well, 4:3 tells us. Even so, when we were children, can you guys see? Okay, I'm just going to start at the beginning so it makes sense because the Bible always starts in the middle of a sentence. Now, so I'm starting at 1. Now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, does not differ at all from a slave, though he is master of all. Remember, the heir and the slave, the son and the slave, there's only one thing that differentiates you. So let's see, what is it? Now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, does not differ at all from a slave, though he is master of all, but is under guardians and stewards until the time appointed by the Father. Even so we, when we were children, were in bondage under the elements of the world. But when the fullness of the time had come, God sent forth his son, born of a woman, born under the law. Okay, don't worry about that part. I just need you to know, number 3. Even so, when we were children, we're in bondage under the elements of the world. Okay, so again, sin is a childish thing. Being continuously sinful is something you can do when you're like 5 years old, and even then you don't do it because you get over it quickly. And you have guardianship and people looking after you to teach you the ways, right? We have the word. And then when you're older, at the appointed time, appointed by the Father, you get your inheritance, right? And this is that time because I'm here under the law, right? My surname literally translates to trustee, my real surname in real life. So under the law, you need to know your inheritance. And if you're in hell, you need to know so that you can choose if you want to come out or not and claim your inheritance so that when you get to heaven, you can't complain that you were stuck on a prison planet because they'll tell you, no, but we told you. This dude told you. And then you'll bear the brunt of coming back or whatever they make you do on the other side. This is a legal matter proceeding. And so basically, if you're a child of corruption or bondage, you're childlike. I'm not going to use the word childish or childlike. I'm just going to use the word id, right? Id is a Freudian term that represents your personality when you're a child. When you come out the womb, you want to suck on a breast because you want milk, right? And so that's the id. And if you don't get it, you cry. You want what you want and you want it now, or else you cry. And then you get all negative and all of that's your id. You can also call it your libido, your drive, your base drive. A healthy id comes out as just desire, your normal desire. Okay, let's not go into that now. So the elementary principles of the world that they talk about in here, that's how they get you. That's how the wicked one gets you. Let me give you an example. Some people in my business want to work for a studio. Oh my gosh, when I finish acting school, I just want to go work for Warner Brothers, Disney, Universal. That is the same as being a baby because you are putting yourself under guardianship and stewardship. But like I said in yesterday's lesson, well, Sunday's lesson when you get it, if you're in the Lumania course, we are kings, we are adults, we are meant to take control and to rule, and we cannot work for someone. I went into the whole thing about you cannot work under someone else because it interferes with your duties, and that's quoted in Judges. Go read Judges 9, the story of the bramble bush and the tree. A tree cannot take shade under a bush. If a tree can take shade under a bush, then I command fire to come out of the trees and burn all the cedars, because that will never happen. And so when people get careers, it could be anything. You are working for someone who, in effect, is your dad, is your father, inverted commas. Not your father that you're born from, but they're your economic father, for example, like a mafia pimp, like a godfather, like a pimp, actually. And you sit at your desk every day or you work from home, but your directives come from a guardian, a steward, a boss, right? Now, I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm just saying if you're in the other course, it is. If you're listening to this, it's okay. Eventually, if you have it in your heart to become a boss, but you're scared, you will get there. However, I'm using this as an example to show the difference between these two modalities, not to judge people who have bosses, okay? Yes, we've all had bosses, okay? Disclaimer aside, what we are working towards is being free from that, because a lot of corruption can happen even unintentionally when you work for someone else. And we're not going to go into that now, but you can put that just in the back of your mind somewhere. Now we're going to go to Revelations. So the only thing I want you to remember from that is that clinging to elementary principles is a way in which this contract of corruption keeps you in hell. Okay, so whenever you want the government to do something for you, to be your dad, to make rules, to do, or you want someone, a preacher, a priest, to guide you, to show you the way, that's when corruption happens. Because then the preacher is going to say, okay, you have demons inside you, come to my bedroom and we'll do something to take out the demons. And then you do it, and that's a lie. Or you're going to be like that girl in that fast food restaurant. Her boss told her to take off her clothes because the policeman on the phone, who was fake, told her to do it. And she did it. And they made a movie called Compliance about it. Very good movie. Check it out. Compliance. It describes perfectly what I'm talking about here. Or you're a musician and you don't have any equipment at home. You know, 10 years ago, they didn't have AI. They didn't have a band lab. Now you can make a whole CD at home using BandLab and AI and change your voice. But 10 years ago, you had to go to Puff Daddy and ask him for a contract. And what does he say? Take this baby oil. So now we don't want that. No. These are elementary principles of the world, that you need other people to give you money or to give you religious epiphanies or to give you whatever. Nope, not true. Because when I make music, all the music I made on this project, it was through God. We're not going to go into that. Okay, Revelations 18:2. So this is the last one to show you proof to get full marks into how the wicked one keeps you in hell. Revelations 18. Verse 2, chapter 18. Okay, the fall of Babylon the Great is the name of chapter 18. Let's go to verse 2. And he cried mightily with a loud voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become a dwelling place of demons, a prison for every foul spirit, and a cage for every unclean and hated bird. Amen. Let's just read that. There's so much energy in that word. I'm just like, really? What do you want me to say after that? There's nothing I can say after that. You've said it all. Revelations 18, chapter 2, Revelations chapter 18, verse 2. And remember, this book is a book that is personal to you. It is not a revelation of the future of everyone on earth. Objectively, it's a revelation to you on your personal journey. And when you come out of hell, you will say, when you realize this, you will cry out mightily too, and you will say, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become a dwelling place of demons, a prison for every foul spirit, and a cage for every unclean and hated bird. Now, there is this feeling you get inside if you are one of those crooked priests who handle the word of God deceitfully, and you tell people, yes, in the future, don't worry, you must keep going in your bondage of corruption, okay? Because one day Babylon is gonna fall and you'll be gone, you'll be raptured out of here like Ezekiel and Enoch, and you'll be in outer space and all the demons will be here on earth. That's a lie. That's a trick of the devil, because you should never at any point in your life accept anything that is beneath your standard of decency. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. So whatever your decency standard is, don't accept it anything less, because then you are being arrogant, you're being foolish. Always keep and judge everyone to the standard of your own level of morality and decency. That's the law. And so when we say, oh, Babylon has fallen, that's a personal thing you say to yourself when you come out of here and you say, oh, it's an epiphany. It's like, oh my goodness, I get it now. Babylon has fallen. And normally it's when you get screwed over that happens. And you say, yes, I apologize if you hear any noises in the background. But you say, yes, Babylon has fallen. I am out of Babylon. And what is Babylon? Babylon is this matrix, I'm not going to say cube, because the cube is the structure and we make the software. So it's not Metratron's fault or the matrix's fault, but it's the way this program has been running, called Babylon, the Babylon program, which is humans using technology to try and become gods. That's Babylon. It's a program that runs in every single hierarchical structure. Even in a company, it happens, because we live in a fractal nature. So what happens on the bigger scale, macro, happens on the micro. So that's why this book is so helpful, because it gives you a macro scale view of the universe. And using the macro scale view of the universe, you can look at the microscopic view of the universe. So you are a baby. Okay? This is the part of the lesson called synthesis, where we put in your mind it should be coming together. So I've been telling you about elementary principles of the world and being a baby, and don't be a baby. Well, the reason we don't want you to be a baby is because we don't want you to be a Babylon. We want you to be a Melchizedekian, a Melchizedekian. We want you to be Anunnakian. We want you to be empowered with your divine birthright, which is enshrined even in the UNESCO laws, which is you are born to be a human that is free and you can do whatever you want to do without harming anyone else. Now, what the devil is doing is trying to change what harm is by trying to say, oh no, the words you speak are harm. It's very, very wicked, very, very mishandling of the word. Governing words. Can you imagine there are people who are starving and they are telling you what words you can and cannot use? I mean, that is such a slap in the face to humanity. And then they tell you #MeToo protect women, and they go and they pay money to drop bombs on women in Ukraine and Israel and all of those places. And then they tell you #MeToo, support the woman, but they drop a bomb on the woman. That's insane. Hey? And everyone just goes along with it. It's weird, hey? Yo, that's weird. But they are babies. And I used to say, you know what? The insane patients are running the asylum, but there will come a day when that stops. And that day has come, luckily. We are allowed to witness it. And so when you come out of hell, you are renouncing your babiness, your Babylon status. Okay? You are saying, I understand that the world is a prison. It's written there. Revelations Chapter 18, verse 2. This is a prison, yes. And it's a prison for foul spirits, foul ones. Things that are going to influence you to the death. I mean, look at the music industry. If you are a rapper, they go get a gangster to be famous. They don't go get this good boy sitting at home playing the keyboard like freaking craft work. No, they go get the guy who's shooting people because they want you to sit at home. It's a common psychological thing. When we do the next part in this lesson, I'll bring out my psychology book and we will look at conditioning. There's a whole section on how to condition a human being to brainwash them. I have it. I use it, but for good reasons. When you listen to my music, it conditions you, yes, to fall in love with yourself so that you have a strong self-concept and you don't act like a baby. Because if you act like a baby, then the stewards and the guardians that we talked about will use your id to manipulate you and keep you in jail, in prison. Even jail is better, you still have a court date. Prison, you can't even get out. And here they're saying this is a prison for foul spirits and a cage for every unclean and hated bird. Now you guys know about the bird aliens, right? Now you can find out, we'll talk in Lumania what the birds are, what about the birds. We're not talking about the birds now, but Babylon is what we want to escape from. And when we escape from Babylon, it's almost like mixing, because I also did color psychology and color theory in my degree course. You're mixing red and blue. So red is your root chakra, which is at the bottom of all your chakras. Blue is your throat chakra. I'm not using the right color blue. It should be sky blue. I apologize if you hear any noises. I have my dear assistant walking around. So if you have blue, this is your throat chakra. And when you mix, which is at the bottom of your second set of chakras, so these two chakras align with each other. Because remember, green is in the middle, and green, I'm not going to go too deep into the Lumanian stuff, I know, but green is Michael, Metratron, Melchizedek. It's such a tongue twister, Melchizedek. And so he generates or pulls this energy together. If you've read the Kabbalah, the Zohar, they talk about how Metratron pulls the energy from the lower half of your chakras, or your lower baby side, the side that wants to be taken care of by demons and the government, and pulls your higher side, right, from the blue chakra upwards, and blends them together. And so these two colors blended together is, guess what? Red and blue equals purple, or magenta, violet, ultraviolet, which is the color of the kingdom. So when you see any material on my page which has this purple color, that material is made to activate you into your sovereignty. When you see any videos on my channel which have me wearing red, like a red t-shirt, and there's blue around me, or there's red and purple somewhere, then those videos are about hell and about how to stop being a baby. And then if you see videos with black and gold or yellow, that's something else. So all of these things have been encoded so that whenever you watch my content, you are always getting the same message over and over and over again. If you go look at the music CD covers, there's 3 different colors. There's a purple one, there's multicolored, there's yellow, whatever. It's all been designed. I'm not here to talk about that, so that's why I'm cutting myself short. It's all been designed to reinforce the idea of your sovereignty. So that when you watch a funny video I make, when you listen to a song I've written, when you watch anything under the Scribble Bites logo, you know that it is made for your contract of sovereignty. It is not made for anything else other than what has been written by law we are supposed to do if you are in the order of Melchizedek. If you're a son of Melchizedek, then you are a son of light. Okay, so we've proven this part, and now I'm going to close this episode, and I'll come back a little bit later to do part 2, which is, okay, so we're in hell. I realize I'm in hell. I'm out of hell now. Now what? Who am I? What do I do? What's happening? You're an alien, and I'll tell you the hope in this, world. Okay, so let's take a break, have something to drink, and I'll be back.